Welcome, all astrology. Sacred Sage is burning. Today is January 21st, and we now are in the midst of air, folks. Aquarian energy, air. We've got the sun and we've got Mercury solidly placed within that sign, but we have changes coming, and these are going to be some big changes, and they're not going to be that far away. So at the 21st, we're looking at the 3/4 way point through this month, and by the 26th, there should be some considerable changes, some events that have come around, whether it's through information and communication, Mercury, shocks and surprises. There's going to be earth sign and water sign shocks and surprises coming up, but probably leading to be sort of in a stressful way. Unfortunately, I'm in that same boat, folks, so I hate to have to say that, but I'd rather know in advance so I can be prepared for it. We also have coming about this interesting, the end of January going in, and then the month of February, it's almost like we have a contradiction of information that comes through, because we have our new moon on the 24th. Mars is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is super fiery. I once mentioned that having Mars in Sagittarius is like a heat-seeking missile, because Mars is all about my passion, my desire, my drive, going forward. Sag is all about, elevating and moving in a vertical way. No horizontal or backward movements, but that's Sagittarius, that's that arrow. Well, when you mix that with the Martian energy, heat-seeking missile. Like Sagittarian is the astronaut, right? And so this is now that rocket ship, but Mars adds that fuel. It's the fire, and it goes. Mars gets along really well with fiery energy. Mars is fiery, so they're compatible. When they talk, they understand each other, because Mars is all about what I want to do. And Sag is all about, oh my God, I can show you so many more options. I can see way up from above, and I'm seeing things I never saw before. And it brings Mars to this illuminated spot. But that's fire energy. We also have earth energy. Still a buttload of stuff in earth, right? Saturn and Pluto. And we have Jupiter. And we have the South Node. We have Cheroklo. There's still a butt of stuff happening in Earth, not to mention Tyrannus, right? It's at 3 degrees or something right now. Let me find that out to be exact for you. I'm sorry, it's 242. You can round it up to 3 unless you have signs, planets at those specific points that are very close. Like, I will tell you that for myself, my sun is in Taurus. My sun degree, my natal sun, is 3/20/22, my natal Taurus sun. So that means that when Uranus, hits that 3-degree mark, the slower planets, those minutes and those seconds become monumental. They really begin to count. Because once you start paying attention, engaging those planetary movements, if you have an ephemeris, and if you don't have an ephemeris, which is a book like this, doesn't have to be this exact kind, but this basically gives you the dates, right? It gives you locations. It gives you all the planetary, right? It shows you Mars, Venus, Saturn, Neptune. It's got all that up there, Uranus, and then it gives you the dates, right? This is November of 1993. And right now I've got it bookmarked in January of 2020, because that's where we are. And it tells you can see all the movements. And I know I'm messing with my microphone, so I'm going to leave that alone and put that aside for right now. But that's what an ephemeris is, right? It is a book of the planets and the planetary movements. So you have an understanding as to how long a planet takes to get somewhere, how long it will sit in a sign. That's how we know. This is, by the way, this is not like some fluff. This is scientifically calculated. This is a piece of scientific work in itself. All right, this is many, many eons of study of planetary cycles. And this is nothing more than information that comes from NASA, okay? So all astrology has done is taken that knowledge, and by observation and through the knowledge that's come down through the ancestors, right? The wise ones, the ancient ones, the observations of what those different streams and beams and the energetic emanations, what they mean, what the frequencies, what vibration they're literally, living at, and how it feels, how it looks, what it expresses as in terms of people and personality. Planets have personality, folks. That is one of the things that we have to kind of really allow our mind to comprehend instead of saying, oh, that's a bunch of rubbish and nonsense and whatever. No, really try to find a place of peace with this, and you'll be able to grasp so much more, and you will learn more, not just about others, but really truly about yourself first, because then once you know thyself, the better you know yourself, the more understanding you can have for people that you have no knowledge of, people that you just meet for the first time. You right away get an understanding, not all of the picture, but especially in areas of life where you rub each other the wrong frickin' way, right? There is that stress, that tension, that squaring energy, okay? That angle hitting an angle where it's like crashing, right? Two cars coming and colliding, two forces, and not understanding why. Like, I never met you. What's the problem, right? Well, we understand. We understand that when a fixed energy, when a speeding bullet is going and it meets at a certain point with another speeding bullet, there's going to be a catastrophe. There's going to be this major impact. It's not going to feel good. It's going to be stressful. So having that kind of knowledge in advance about these frequencies, where you understand your own frequency and the opposing frequency, or the coming stress, the square, the tension, the setup, you have a better understanding as to, okay, this is likely going to be a tense situation, and what will I need to get through that? How can I, navigate through those waters, and at the same time, not be underwater, but be where at least my nose and my lips are above the waterline, where I can breathe, where it feels like not so great, but I'm still alive. And sometimes in life, that's what we have to do. We're literally just waiting, because, well, when it comes to the planets, it's all about timing. And you can fight it all you want, but there's this divine timing thing that is truly has to be respected and honored, or we are literally that person out in the middle of the ocean trying to swim against the current. You do nothing but wear yourself out, and eventually you have no energy to keep the nose and the lips above the waterline, and you sink, and ultimately death occurs. The sun right now, the transiting sun, is at 1 degree and 11 minutes of Aquarian energy. So that's a fixed energy, right? And fixed squares fixed. So this would mean that for Scorpios, early Scorpios, early Scorpios, early Tauruses are experiencing friction right now, stress. This could be whether you are a Taurus ascendant, a Taurus sun, or a Taurus moon. Same with the Scorpio. Scorpio sun, Scorpio ascendant, Scorpio moon. If it's your moon, obviously it's your emotions. Okay? If it's your sun sign, it could be your vitality, your health being squared. Now, this is a fast transit, so don't be overly concerned about this. But it just gives insight as to what the hell is going on, right? A sense of feeling restricted mentally, emotionally, physically. You understand it because the ascendant is your physical, right? Physical restrictions. Your sun would be vitality, your inner strength, your ability to express and shine, the sun, that being restricted. Your moon would be the emotions, how I feel, those being restricted in some way, or some sort of a tension or tested situation happening. Okay, that's what that looks like when it comes down to talking about signs, whether it be sun, moon, or ascendant. Now, let's also talk about Mercury. The planet Mercury is at 8 degrees and 31 minutes in Aquarius. The positive thing about this is that this is sextiling. This is sending a semi-sextile, sending a beautiful semi-sextile over to the south node. The south node is at 8 degrees in Capricorn, and that's good to know, because then those Mercury, my thinking and communication, can assist us in what it is we're letting go of, because that's what the south node represents. And if you've been following along with the monthly and the weekly videos, you have a better understanding energetically as to what the frequencies are right now, what is happening, where we're moving towards and what we're moving away from. And the south node is what we're moving away from. And it is in Capricorn, right? Capricorn, Saturn, Pluto, all this big stuff, the big conjunction in 2020, the big eclipse that happened on January 10th, which was a letting go of something in order to make room for the new. Meaning the new wasn't going to come in. We weren't going to be able to grasp the new and to receive it unless we were willing to let something old go. Something that was no longer, something you outgrew. Now, coming up on the 24th of this month, we have a new moon, 4 degrees. Okay, and that 4 degrees Aquarian energy sends a semi-sextile. It semi-sextiles the eclipse we had in December, at the end of December. It was December 26th, we had a 4 degrees Capricorn eclipse. So when you look back on that time, that would have been on the 26th of December, Christmas, right? Depending upon where you live. Something happened that had to do with structure in your life, an old structure, an old order, and it could have been work. It had to do with a goal you had, a way in which you innately want to receive recognition in this world. For a lot of folks, it has a direct connection to their career and to their work, to their money. So this has a lot to do on a global scale with big business, with corporations, with banking, with government, because it's Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy is something that was built over a long period of time. So traditionally, right? Tradition things, the way we traditionally have done business, the way we traditionally have done banking, the way we traditionally have worked, the way traditional careers, all that's changing, right? We're in the midst of it. We see it, we're experiencing it. I am living it. I know many others like me who are living it, right? Because, well, it's just that time. It's time. Uranus is in Taurus, right? So it's Tyrannus. And with that, it's a shake-up, a quake-up. We're going to move things around. The Big Bang alarm clock goes off. And what you thought was going to be is not going to be, because Uranus is unpredictable. And so the recommendation anytime we deal with Uranus, which is Aquarian energy, is it's so unique. It thinks outside the box. It's not at all what you thought it was going to be. And so that is the recommendation, to expect the unexpected. So you, no matter who you are, no matter what your rising sign is, or your sun sign, or your moon sign, you would want to know, where is Uranus in your chart? Find Taurus, 4 degrees, 3 degrees is where it is right now, actually. That is where Uranus is. When you find out what house it's in, you have a better understanding for the next 5 years, what area of your life is completely going to be changed. Changed to the degree of your perception, because it shook things up. Things got stale, things became stagnant, things became crystallized. And so when Uranus starts moving through a place in our life, it literally comes through like with a hammer in a way and shatters all this crystallized stuff. And it all breaks apart and shatters. And you're left with, well, it seems like everything's in destruction. And so you really do have to form a whole new way of being, a whole new way of thinking. You become this very unique thing because it's been shaken up. And you rise up, as we do. When we have things that have been completely destroyed, we all of a sudden see things differently. We have new growth, fresh growth, okay? And that's, Uranus is in a way similar to Pluto like that, because it likes to come in and shake things up. It doesn't necessarily destroy things like Pluto does. Pluto will literally come in and revamp things and take it out by the root and just pitch it. And then you have this brand new growth that has to come, that has to emerge, that has to fly and rise as the phoenix does. Uranus is more about taking something that exists and just honestly giving it a good shake. So if you're in a relationship, like let's pretend Uranus is in your 7th house. So if you're in a relationship, so people who are in one-on-one significant relationships, and this could be business and work relationships as well, because that's the 7th house. It is also business partnerships. It is also people who I pay to counsel me, or me counseling others. That's the 7th house, along with your marriage house, because it's like a house of contracts. It's okay, we made this agreement. This is our deal. It's a legal deal we made. And so when somebody pays you something, you contract them to perform a service. That's what marriage is all about, learning how to compromise. When you commit to someone, it's a compromise. You can't have 100% things the way you're 100% of the time, the way you want them. You have to compromise. So Uranus comes along and it says, all right, there's this relationship. It's not that it's a bad relationship, but things have gotten stale. Things are kind of old. They've become stagnant. Uranus comes in and flushes it through, shakes it up, kind of brings maybe another person into the picture, introduces new people, or changes geography in some way. Things get moved around. So if you had something that used to sit over here, it's like somebody comes into your house and moves stuff all around. It's like, whoa, okay, where did this go? This was supposed to be here. It's not here, right? All of a sudden you have to start using your brain again. You have to start. So in relationships, it's like, okay, what we used to depend on as a way that, like an activity we enjoyed together, or something that we had in common that we were able to connect on, somehow it rustles that up. It breaks it apart because it says, this is getting old. Let's make this fresh. So it's almost like you get to the stage, not necessarily the dating stage, but in a way, yeah. Because it's almost as though you're looking at each other in a different way because you don't have that thing there any longer to connect you. And now it's like, okay, great. Now what do we do? Right? Now what do we do? We don't have that. That is not even here. So how do we connect? Right? This was our springboard. So if you didn't have multiple springboards or multiple things, it challenges that. And for relationships where they only had a couple of things that they connected on, those relationships do actually end because Uranus comes in and says, I need freedom. I need freedom in a sense where I don't want to be around things that are stale and that are old. I want something fresh. So for a lot of relationships that are not very strong, this is what happens. A new being comes into their existence and it's like, whoa, all of a sudden the next new best thing, they got to have it. They want it and they go after it. Uranus, depending upon if you square something in your chart, aspecting it in a not so positive way, other people will be very rash. They will be very spontaneous. They will be very unpredictable and they will go after that new thing. They'll just, throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, where their eyes get fixed on that new shiny thing and they go for it. This is on rocky road relationships. If it's a relationship that is solid, that you come together in different ways, you have many things that connect you, right? You have deep experiences. We all understand what I'm talking about here. We've been in those relationships where they're fast and hard and they're bright, right? They're real shiny, they're real fiery. It's like they say that the brightest candle burns out the fastest. There's truth in that. If you've gotten beyond that, if you're in a relationship that is built on solid ground, what this does do is it adds a bit of excitement to it. It adds a bit of freshness. Somebody in the relationship says, "Hey, I was thinking about this." And then the other person considers it, and all of a sudden there's this new thing being incorporated into the relationship. Okay, now this could be, you can run wild with your imaginations. I'm talking to all rising signs. All right, so this just depends on where this Uranian energy is in your chart. But one thing's a promise. You will receive it in some way, shape, or form, either by square or opposition or by conjunction or sextile. You're gonna get it. And if you don't get it by that way right now in these 5 years, once it moves into the next sign, it's gonna be different and you will receive it then too. Because in 5 years' time, Uranus leaves Earth and it goes into Gemini. It leaves Earth and it goes into air. It leaves fixed Earth and goes into mutable air, which means holy crap. When you're talking Uranus going into something that's mutable, we're talking things moving very fast. I mean like lightning. Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury and Uranus get along. They're both very much air signs. They like to move. Mercury's a very fast moving planet. Uranus is very fast and unpredictable. Well, some people would say that mutable energy can be unpredictable. It's not fixed. It is very flexible. It can go left, it can go right, it can go up, it can go down. So here, when those 5 years are up, it is going to be another change for another set of folks, another set of rising signs, and it'll be a change for all of us, but it'll give a it'll give a stressful squaring energy to a whole new set of signs. And we will not go into that right now. We don't need to. That is 5 years down the road. But you folks let me know what you want. We'll get to it. Now to move on to the next thing, Mercury in Aquarian energy. Mercury in Aquarian energy, Mercury likes being in Aquarius because Mercury is fast. But let me tell you something. Having the sun just join it means the sun fuels Mercury. It gives it the fire. Okay, it also fuels that Aquarian energy. Uranus rules Aquarius. Now Uranus, the sun, when it hits 4 degrees, right now it's at 1 degree, but in a few days' time, right, the sun moves 1 degree a day. In a few days' time, it's going to send a nice square, a tight square to the Uranian energy in Taurus. That's the fixed energy that I was talking about. So for Scorpios, because that's another fixed sign, if you have any personal planets, if you have your Venus, your Mars, your Mercury, if you have those there in the first degrees of Scorpio, like from, 1 to 6 at the most, I would say, you're going to feel the sun squaring it. And because it's the sun, it's fast. It squares it tightly for one day. This is just giving a heads up, pay attention to that sun. And that's only if you have your personal planets in the earlier degrees, right? From 0 to 10 degrees of the fixed signs. So that is Taurus and Scorpio. Now let's go to the new moon, which happens on the 24th of this month, which is in a couple of days actually, because today's already the 21st. So the new moon in Aquarius brings information. Miss A and I were talking about this. New moon, typically a new moon, it's more of a, okay, I just need to set my intentions and, wish upon a star type of thing about what it is that I want for that area of my life. So yes, that is still relevant. Find out where is Aquarius in your chart. What house is it in? When you know what house it's in, you understand it's that area that's going to be lit, that's being given the new moon energy to wish. To put your intentions down in your mind, to put them on paper, to speak them into the wind. This is that time. Wait till like the 25th, 26th at the latest, because then at that time the moon will have the moon fully integrated into the sign, okay, of Aquarius. The sun will still be there. Mercury will still be there. However, by that time, Mercury will have pulled away from the sun just enough where Mercury literally will be reborn. Because what happens at that point is it pulls away from the sun in such a way that we now will receive the information that Mercury has. The sun and the Mercury, when they're close, we don't really receive the knowledge that Mercury has to give us. However, if we wait for those last, the last 5 days of the month, right? So I said like the 26th, you want to wait. Mercury will then reveal the information for our future, the information how to move forward. Okay, the information for this new thing we're going to begin. It is a very initiatory energy, totally. It's the Uranian energy, it's air, it's thinking, it's communication, it is sales, it's business. This is involved because this is Mercury. Mercury is the salesman. Mercury is the communicator. Mercury is the social media. Mercury is the internet. Mercury is all of that. Uranus is the internet. Uranus is Aquarius, right? Uranus is astrology. So all this stuff, all these things happening will give us support for our new moon intention. What I can do is go through the signs very shortly, very quickly, telling you, depending upon your rising sign, where this is going to happen in your chart. What house this is going to happen, okay? So if you are an Aries ascendant, Aries rising, we have the Uranian energy. We have the new moon happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is your hopes and your wishes, okay? That is your social circles, that is your friends. That is where you do group activities. So think about this, folks. Where when you get together with people, not just one-on-one, but groups of people, this is where this is happening. Make your intentions based upon that. Also make them based upon what it is you desire. I've been telling people this for a long time. The point is because Uranus is in Taurus and it is all about changing what we value. So what you used to value, think back to 2 years ago. Think back to just 1 year ago. Your values have changed. Your values have taken a turn. And so your values, you know this better than anybody. This is your second house where Uranus has been for you. It has really tested because this is your house of your income, your money, your resources. So Aries, you have been tried, you've been tested, and now it is time for you to realize what is it you really want? What is it you really value? And base your intentions, coordinate them with this group activity. Because this is where we are being shown there's going to be a lot of energy supported to take this into the 2020 energy. For Aries ascendant, Aries risings, this is your 11th house of group activity, the 11th house of social circle. The 11th house is internet. The 11th house is your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. It's altruistic energy, the 11th house. It is for the group. So on a large scale, it's what I want for the world. How can I serve the world? How can I serve my group that I'm a part of? That is the 11th house energy. If you are a Taurus ascendant, Taurus rising, this is happening in your 10th house. This is your career. So Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Risings, you have been going through this big time because this has been all about, Uranus has been messing with you big time. It has been completely changing how you appear to the world. So if you used to be like this to the world, all of a sudden people are realizing, oh my God, that's my friend. And yeah, my friend used to look physically a certain way. It literally changes you physically. It literally can change that about you. It literally can change what you do for your profession. It literally can change where you physically live. It literally can change where you physically work because it's the ascendant energy. So it opposes your descendant. It squares your midheaven. It squares your IC. This is home. This is work. This is who I'm with. This is me. It does all of that. And it has been messing around. It's gone retrograde back into Aries to like 27 degrees. And then it retrograded like 3 times. So it has been, for the early through it, you've been living this, well, some would call it hell. But for Taurus, it is a hell because they want shit to stay the same. They want reliability, stability, security. And in their mind, security is something that they've created and that it works. And okay, we're sticking with this. That goes there. It's not going to change. Just keep it oiled, keep it fueled. It'll constantly work. Just maintain it. It'll never change. It'll never break. And that's what Taurus likes, right? It's something they can depend on. Tauruses are dependable. Therefore, they want things and people around them who are dependable. This is going to be important. At the same time, Uranus came through and said, oh, hell no. Hell no. No, that's just the opposite. Whatever you were depending upon, it's my job to break that shit up. That's what Uranus does. So this has been a type of hell for Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Rising. But at this time, this is your 10th house. This is where 4 degrees of Aquarius is, okay? So you want to look in your own chart, people. Remember, find out and go by the degrees, all right? I find I have the most accuracy following the degrees. When I do this whole house system, it is just to give a generality so that nobody's left out. But if you have degrees in your head because you have your chart in front of you, follow the degree and find out for yourself. You may be looking at a house system, which is not a whole house system. It literally is degrees. So your house, your 10th house, may be a little bit small and you might not have 4 degrees there. It might be in your 9th house. And if that's the case, it's about your belief system. It's about what you believe, okay? It's about your spirituality, your religion. It is about higher learning. It is about wisdom. Let's move on. If you are a Gemini Ascendant, Gemini Rising, this is happening in your 9th house, right? Because, yep, 9th house, which goes to what I just said, all about what you believe. Your philosophy on life, your philosophy on religion. Do you have a religion? Have you just let go of religion? Are you second guessing the religion that you currently have? Are you maybe opening your eyes up to other religions? Are you done with religion, right? This is what happens in this house. Having Gemini there means you're literally looking for something that is higher, something that elevates you in some way, but it's got to be, the 9th house is a spiritual house. At the same time, having this happen there lends to it being more scientific because it's Aquarian energy in that house. So if you're a Gemini Ascendant, Gemini Rising, it's almost as though you want something that is most definitely outside of the box. You would think that astrology would make a lot of sense to these individuals. I would think so because you have astrology in your 9th house. Aquarian energy is astrology. However, it is also science. It is definitely scientific energy. It is the sign, Aquarius is the sign of the inventor. It is the scientist in the laboratory. You know, it's Frankenstein, but it's also Edison, right? It's also Einstein. It's also Da Vinci. It is our great inventors. That is the Aquarian energy. And the 9th house is the house of higher learning, which is why Geminis are so usually, right, depending upon certain specific aspects, why they're usually very intellectual people because they have Aquarian energy in their 9th house. The 9th house is the house of higher learning, elevated learning. It is not grammar school, right? It is not high school. It is college level. It is secondary education. It is education that you decided, hey, I want more. And so you take more and more on and you learn more and more and the learning never ends there. But this would be very unique, very individualistic because it's the Aquarius energy. At the same time, it's fixed, right? It's fixed, so it should be very logical, rational, but into the degree where it's scientific. And sometimes to folks, science just doesn't make sense to a lot of people. They just say, what the hell, that escapes me, doesn't make any sense. I'm more into the things where things are just, you know, I can feel my belief system. I don't have to see it on paper. I don't have to see it. It doesn't have to come out of a test tube type of thing. To each his own. You find what works for you. But at this time, if you're a Gemini Ascendant, Gemini Rising, having this Aquarius energy means you're getting information. Something's going to be coming for you, okay? Something's going to be coming, and it's going to be giving you information by way of Mercury being there, by way of the sun and the moon being there. So it comes in and gives us information as to some new endeavor we're going to partake on. And the energy is here. So remember the 9th house, okay? Maybe you get a teacher. Maybe you become a teacher. Maybe you start to travel, because that is also the 9th house. It is long journeys. It is I'm going on a long trip. Not I'm getting in my car and going down the street. No, this is I'm getting in the car and I'm driving across the country. Or I'm getting on a train, plane, automobile. That is the 9th house. That is the Sagittarius. That is the astronaut. I want to leave the earth plane and I want to go above and beyond. So this, you know, when we look at the astrology, depending upon a soul's evolution, where you are in your soul's growth, where you are in general, what frequency you're vibrating at, has everything to do with what frequency you pick up on. So you always want to be in check with the frequencies that you carry, because it's just like the old school radio channel, right? You got to tune it into the frequency. And if you're tuning it into a frequency and you're like, I can't even understand that. It's all scribble scratch. Like it's just all, it's muffled, or it's all that zzz, that all electrical sounding. You can't make any sense out of it. Your frequencies don't match, right? And so you're going to be able to hear, you're going to be able to assimilate frequencies that are like energies, right? Attract. This is one of the natural laws. This is not G's law. This is a natural law. Likes attract likes. That's why they're always talking about elevate your frequencies, because the higher frequencies that you vibrate at, the higher frequencies you can actually attract and connect with and vibrate with and receive information from. Well, who the hell doesn't want that? The higher the frequency, the better. Like, right? Hell yeah. We want to get through this thing called life, but we want to do it in a way where we don't want to have to get hit over the head. We want to be able to just kind of, we know there's going to be stresses and testings, but there are different degrees of stresses and testings. And you know who you are, right? Whether you've had the hardest ones or you know people in your life, you've heard about the things that they've been through and events, and you're like, oh my God, holy shit. Like, God, I hope I never have to experience that, right? It's like I say, it's either the deer walking across the front of your car or the deer that comes right through your goddamn windshield, right? There's a big difference. But many times it's the same message, folks. It's the difference is it had to approach you so that you could hear it, so that you would receive it, so it would shake you up to get the message through, okay? It's the difference between a tap on the shoulder or just a simple look or, for some folks. So now moving on to the next sign that brings us to Cancer, Ascendant Cancer Risings. So for Cancer, Ascendant Cancer Risings, this is house number 8 for you, okay? This is a house of deep healing. This is a house of emotional, deep hidden emotions, but on a very energetic level. This is your energetic body going through processing deep hidden psychological emotions, things that were just buried deep. And this is Aquarian energy there. So it's a little upsetting, all right? This would definitely be upsetting. And this is what makes Cancer Ascendant Cancer Risings, okay? This is what makes the sensitivity factor, the feelings so strong. If you didn't ever understand why, it is because when you have Aquarian energy in that house, Aquarian energy is shocks and surprises. Okay? It's expect the unexpected in general. Now, if you want to understand that even more for you specifically in your chart, find out where is the planet Uranus in your chart. Where is it in your chart? What sign is it in? And that tells you how that Aquarian energy in that house expresses. It gives you more information. That's following the energetic trail. It gives you more information to better understand yourself. And that's the ultimate, absolutely ultimate plan. Having having the new moon happen in this house. Remember, Mercury's here now, okay? So there are going to be things about your deep emotional world that are going to come to light, things you were not aware of. But these things are going to help you to move forward. It's going to be for your future. It's something new, because this is what this is about, setting an intention for something new. But the intention is going to be about that 8th house. Now, granted, you can go ahead and say, you know what? Screw G. I don't want to do what G's suggesting. I want to make it about my 2nd house, my money. Because you're right, the 8th house is the opposite. It is others' finances. It is other people's resources. It is others' energy and how I merge with it. That's what the 8th house is. But say you're like trying to be stubborn, right? And you're like, I don't want to do that. I want to make my intention. You can do that. You have free will. You can do whatever you want. I'm just explaining that it's, when the energy is there, you kind of want to work with the energy that is there, the energy that's available. It's kind of like you've got a box of tools, and these are the tools that are working because they require batteries, and they have batteries in them. The other tools, the ones you want to work with, they don't have batteries in them. They're not working right now. Now, you can beat yourself up against the head and try to use those tools. Go right ahead, right? Or go to the store, go do whatever you got to do. It's going to be more work. But if you work with something that is ready to go, that's working, right? You light it and it works, it's ready. It just makes sense. The flow is there, right? Go with the flow, work with it. Because in time, you will get to make an intention on that other house that you want, that other area of your life. But when you work with the cosmic frequencies that are available, you are working with the divine knowledge. You are working in an intelligent way, intelligent and intuitive way. All right. And it just makes sense. So if you're Cancer, Ascendant Cancer rising, this is going to be a time where there can be some major information that comes through that was buried, that was hidden, that was shocking, but it's going to come through in a way where it'll give you an opportunity to somehow move forward with it. Like, okay, I don't want to be that way anymore. I'm not going to let that do this to me. And you make a new moon intention with this goal in mind. Now remember, it's also about how you merge with other folks' energy. And for Cancer, Ascendant Cancer risings, I know how difficult that is. I know lots of them. And there are things when other people simply just touch them, it's like, I don't want that. It's too much. I know a little Cancer where they have to keep themselves completely covered. They have to keep long sleeves on all the time, regardless of how hot it is. They're very sensitive, folks. It's not just about their emotional feelings, but it's a tactile sensation as well. And if there's, depending upon other things going on in their chart, they could be even more sensitive. So we all have to, having this knowledge gives us a better understanding of those that we come across in our life who we don't know really well, but visually we see something and we're like, what the hell? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Folks, you never know what someone's going through. You never know what is in someone's chart. You never know. Let's move on to the next one. After Cancer, Ascendant Cancer rising, that takes us to the Leos. Have showed us a lot of love. I appreciate it. So shout out to all the Leos. Comment below. I would love to give out, whatever name it is you want me to say hello to you personally. I'm not Hollywood G. I'm just G. All right, so for Leo, Ascendant Leo risings, this is in your 7th house, relationships. This is a big deal, right? This is your committed one-on-one relationships. This is the house of marriage. This is the house of business partnerships. This is the house of people that you consult, people that consult you. Having this Aquarian energy there means you like very unique individuals, means people in your life that you come across tend to be very fixed in your way, in the sense that they want you, people who you can connect with intellectually, people who have something to say, people who are intelligent. You like people that you can look up to. There's something about them where they seem smarter, or they have a sense of wisdom about them that you like. So at this time, having this 7th house stuff going on, it typically brings about information. And this information is about a new relationship. That could be it. And it doesn't have to be, okay, that means I have to end the relationship I'm in. It just simply means information coming forward about a new relationship. Okay, and so that could mean you get somebody who actually comes into your life, right? We kind of talked about that at the front end of this video. So for Leo, Ascendant Leo risings, this is the area of your life where you're making your new moon intentions. So this makes sense, a new partnership. This is, remember what I said, the 26th of this month is when Mercury comes in. Mercury will give you inklings. Mercury will bring you knowledge. Mercury will reveal its wisdom. And I can use the word wisdom here with Mercury, because right now at this time, folks, we have a lot of fascinating things happening. We have Jupiter in a sign. Jupiter is in Capricorn, but its placement in Capricorn is like at 11 degrees. So right now, as I'm doing this reading, Jupiter is semi-sextiling Mercury. So we're already starting to receive information. Now also recognize something, folks, that Jupiter came to light, came to birth about a week ago. Jupiter is beneficial, it's protective. Jupiter is like our guardian angel, okay? And so Jupiter comes in and it's going to bring us beneficial energy. But when we're talking about a spouse and a partner, holy crap, like we want that information. That's going to be some good information. We also have Mars in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is expansive. Remember at the beginning, it's wisdom. It goes up really high and it can give us information. So for Sagittarius energy, it is also lending to this. It's sending a sextile. Like Mars right now, folks, Mars is at 12 degrees. So there's something interesting happening. We've got Mars at 12, we've got Jupiter at 10. So Mars is sending a sextile to Mercury. Jupiter is sending a semi-sextile to Mercury, okay? And they're working together. They can communicate in such a way where it's all about the future. Jupiter is all about seeing on a very high level, seeing the entire forest, seeing from the mountaintop. Okay, Mercury being in Aquarius is cosmic knowledge coming through. Okay, it is cosmic energy coming through. Mercury and Aquarius get along really well. Aquarius is how we think, but Mercury is also thinking, but Aquarian thinking has to do with cosmic information coming through, right? It's divine knowledge coming through. So when they work, anyway, the point is they are all working together. There is this symbiotic communication that's happening. It's for our best on how to move forward because there's been so many endings. We are all, on a global scale, we are all experiencing endings, whether it's our work, whether it's our significant one-on-one relationships, whether it's something happening in the home, whether it's where I live. We're all experiencing this. Everybody is experiencing major endings in some area of their life. So therefore, we're all going to be experiencing major beginnings in some area of our life. Use this, Leo Ascendant, Leo Risings. Use this. This is business partnerships too, okay? So if you're somebody who's, if you work for yourself, so that would mean, people that you consult or people that you consult for, use it to do a new moon intention, to have a beneficial new beginning in partnerships. Virgo Ascendant, Virgo Risings. This is going to put this in your 6th house of health. Your 6th house of health. This is good news for a lot of Virgos out there because typically having this Aquarian energy, when something happens to Virgo Ascendant, Virgo Risings, is usually a surprise because it's Aquarian energy. Aquarian is surprises. Understanding it better, you want to find out where's Uranus in your chart, what house is Uranus in, what sign is it in, and that ties that, it communicates with that. They have a link. They each have cell phones. They have their walkie-talkies. They communicate on a regular basis. They talk a lot alike. They communicate the same way. They express the same way. That'll help you to understand your health. It also helps you to understand your work because this is your house of work. That's what the 6th house is. It is your day-to-day routines. Well, as children, this would be school life. As adults, this is work life. It's our day-to-day routines. Or if you're retired, what do you do on a regular basis? I used to work in the mall, and I had lots of seniors that I came to know because I'd been there for so long, right? And over time, I realized, okay, so these seniors went from their 9 to 5 to making the mall their 9 to 5. They would come every morning, 6 days a week, some of them 7 days a week. They needed to get out of the house. And other seniors were doing the same thing. So it was actually a very smart move because there was a controlled environment. You could walk there. You could go and have breakfast. The food court would be open. You would see people who were the same age range as you. So you would have a social life there. That becomes their day-to-day routine. And so for a person over a certain age, if they're in the retirement realm, that would be that. You see how astrology works? It's not, that's why for some people they say, oh, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't work. It doesn't, it doesn't work if you only know a little bit. You honestly have to know a little bit more for it to start to really make sense. And the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Then it's when it gets even more confusing, but you just don't give up on it. There's knowledge here because it is not meant for the fool. The fool is the one who looks at it and gives up because it says, oh, this is garbage, it doesn't work. Well, because it's not meant for fools. There is wisdom here, ancient wisdom. There are esoteric secrets here to be had of how to navigate the waters of life. And the fool walks past them the first few times, depending upon who you are and where you're at and whether this works for you or not, and whether it's time. That's the difference. Either it's time for you to latch on to it and figure it out, or to just watch readings and let somebody else figure it out, or to not even engage at all. And that's fine too, because we're all on a different spot on that path. The other thing I wanted to mention for the Virgo, Ascendant Virgo rising, is you've got Mars in your 4th house. This is your home life, right? Have you found yourself like being very active in the home, doing things, taking initiative in the house? Have you found yourself being a little bit more fiery as far as your emotional world too, in regards to your family, being way more passionate about family matters, family values? Have you been more connected in a way? Actually, maybe connected is the wrong word, but Mars, having fire, being in Sagittarius, is saying, you know what? I want to take this to a higher level. I want to elevate my assertiveness. I want to elevate my home life. So I would imagine there have been lots of changes that you have been initiating, because that's what Mars is. It's the body. It is you taking action. It is the rocket ship. It is the vehicle. And doing this in your home, it's almost like, Virgo, Ascendant Virgo risings, it's almost as though for them, it's like home is on the road, because Sag likes to travel, especially to faraway lands. So the one in particular that I know loves traveling, has often said he would have no problem living in like a 1-room apartment and being able to pay a really small amount of money for rent, because then that would leave him all this extra money to just travel as much as he wants, like when he has vacation time. Because for them, there is this connection of more of the greater part of the world with out there, with the foreigners, with the land. And to them, that is home. That feels like home. There's not this rooted down feeling. They actually feel like to be at home, sitting still wouldn't feel good at all. They need to constantly be moving. So when they're in the home, they might be the one who's always up, moving around, doing stuff. Or you find that they get a lot out of traveling, because they actually feel very much at home being on the road. And that doesn't literally have to be like the rubber hitting the pavement. Being in an airplane, traveling, visiting faraway places, going to foreign lands, speaking and dealing with foreigners. This would be very satisfying there. And there would be some sort of a homey vibe it would give them. It would give them an emotional security, an emotional satisfaction. And I mention that because Mars is there right now. And so it's only like at 12 degrees. So being at 12 degrees, you're going to get information coming in. It's sending this beautiful sextile to Mercury right now in Aquarius. And so Mercury in Aquarius and Sagittarius, right? We've got Aquarian energy and we've got Jupiter energy. And these two are talking, and they're both about doing something, and something for the future, and something that is different. And so what I would love to hear back, I would love to hear what people have to say. If you are a Virgo, Ascendant Virgo rising, how did this look in your life? How did you feel at this time? What ideas were you getting? Or what did you observe in other Virgo, Ascendant Virgo risings, specifically around this date right now, the 21st, because we have Mars sending an exact trine to Mercury between now and the new moon. The new moon is when you're going to see this tightness happening. But I would love to hear how that looked, because I've been observing the Virgo, Ascendant Virgo rising that I know. And I always find it fascinating, because I learn so much about astrology when I know something about somebody else's chart, and then I observe their life, because we all have free will. So it's going to express differently dependent upon how much of our free will we actually use, and what we choose to do with it. After Virgo, Ascendant Virgo rising, we go to Libra. So for Libras, this is happening in your 5th house. This is romance. This is children. This is creativity. This is joy. This is where I take a risk in life. Now, in this area of your life, it's how you have fun, how you laugh, what you do for fun. That's what this area is. So you're going to have new ideas. Mercury is going to be born there. We're going to have the new moon there. Remember, this is at 4 degrees. So when you set your intentions on the 26th, make sure you're listening in to hear what it is that Mercury is the information Mercury is getting. Mercury is going to be receiving information from Jupiter, from Mars. You're going to know it because your body's going to be feeling it. Mars is your body. You're going to be feeling very passionate about something. You know, both of these energies have this forward yet this vertical slant to them. It's about the future, how I can move forward in the future, how I can move forward vertically, as I like to say. Or Libra, Ascendant Libra risings, this is in your 5th house. This is romance. This could be a new romantic partner coming in, a new love life. It could be information about that. If you're in an established relationship, this could be romance added to your life. It could be a new piece of information that comes in that is unexpected, that it's fresh. That's what Uranus is. It's fresh. It likes for things to not be stale. That is the main thing. It likes to make things fresh. Change the water, fresh water. So you're going to change things up a bit. It can also be, like I said, it's the scientists. What do scientists do, people? They experiment. So remember, when you see the Aquarian energy, it's about experimenting, okay? So keep that in mind as far as relationships. Now, this could be also, like I said, with children, experimenting new things with children, right? Whether it's having a good time with children, new fun activities with kids. The 5th house is the house of athletics, sports, how to be physically active. That's the house right there. That is what that is. So some people are going to be actually for Libras, you're going to be very active with your mind. You have fun with your mind. I have a good friend who has this placement in their chart. And let me tell you, they love things that challenge the mind. Like Jeopardy, they love that show. They love doing things like, whether it's on the internet, which makes sense, for fun. And they could do it for, hours they do it. Hours. Like they don't even know how much time has passed because they're having a good time. It is stimulating and challenging them intellectually, and that is how they have a good time. All right, this is Libra, Ascendant, Libra risings. So keep that in mind. This is areas of your life where you're going to set this new moon intention. Okay? And again, pull in what you've learned with your Uranian energy, which is your Uranus and Taurus. And this is going to be in your 8th house, other people's values, learning about how you merge with other people's energy and their resources. There is something changing. You've been going through this for the last 2 years. All right, we all have somewhere in our life, but that's happening in your 8th house. So you're coming about a new understanding of other people's values. There was some sort of a value that you saw and some understanding about, I used to really value when people who had this more than me having it, simply because they had it. It's kind of like that the grass looks greener, always looks greener on the other side, even though my grass is just as green, but because it's over there, for some reason it has more of an appeal to it. That's what you've been going through, Libras. And so you're going to have more of a closure, I should say, on that. But this is not to be the end-all be-all for this house placement. When Uranus, being at this 3 degree, 4 degree area, if you have planets in Taurus, all right, going through this house, every time Uranus comes across those planets, it's going to, bring this up again for you. It'll be a surprise. It'll be a shock. It means that if you have planets there, that you are more rigid, more fixed. You have more definite ideas of what that means. So for those of us who don't have any planets, we're receiving it every time something squares it, all right? But you'll understand better what I'm saying right now. It'll resonate way more deeply as time goes on. And if you have your own chart and you can see, oh shit, this is what they were talking about. Yeah, I get it now. Okay, so now my values are being challenged again. Me valuing others' values is what that means. That's going to change. So for Scorpio, Ascendant, Scorpio risings, this is home. This is a very big deal. I have a Scorpio in my life who I have been so many prayers and intentions and focus for this person, the highest and the best, who they've been struggling for many, many, many years. It's a young adult, and they're at that time in your life where you don't know what to do, right? You're out of high school and you're in that really funky, like, oh, I want to be an adult, but yet I don't have the resources. I can't afford to do this. I don't have the money to go to school. I don't want to go to school, or you know what I'm saying? It's been very trying. And so this is all about home. Something major has occurred, because for Scorpio, Ascendant Scorpio risings, that third house was activated in the last part of 2019. This is all about marketing. This is all about business. This is all about communication. And so you've had some very positive things happen. Your second house was also recently activated. I'm sorry, your 12th house was recently activated. And so you may have been brought to your awareness. 12th house is your subconscious. So there were things in your subconscious you weren't aware of, but they were self-defeating. That's what the 12th house is. Thoughts that we hold there that are self-defeating thoughts. We have a negative thought, it literally is held within inside of us, and it literally manifests. Now remember, likes attract like. Energy is a boomerang. So if you're holding it here, that's what it's going to bring back to you. Well, after so many times that boomerang coming back and hitting you square dead in the head, you finally one day are like, oh God, okay, this isn't working. I've got to change something. Yes, it's the change from within, okay? So Scorpio Ascendant, Scorpio risings, that change, something has changed, something. And hopefully that something that changed is enough to just be this bridge, this springboard where you can then move forward, because this is happening in your fourth house of home, meaning changes coming to the home, okay? Changes about your home for your future, how this is going to look, what it can be like. It's going to be divine. It's going to be unique, uniquely you, because that's what Uranus is. That's what Aquarian energy is. It's all about how I am an individual, uniquely, my independent self. It is my individuated self. That is what Aquarian energy is. So it happening in your fourth house, I see a lot of Scorpio Ascendant, Scorpio risings getting to a stage where this is the beginning of you being an independent individual, being this individuated being who can support themselves, who can move out and have their own place, who can stand tall in the world as a young adult. So set your new moon intentions based on what you want that to look like, what it is you need to then acquire to get there, to have those steps, whatever that is, the job, right? The money that needs to be saved. How do you go about doing that? Getting up bank accounts, right? How do you, like the little steps? Mercury's bringing the information. It's going to be getting information from Mars, and Mars is coming through in your second house. That's where Mars is. It's in Sagittarius, in your second house. It's just cha-ching, money coming in, right? Resources. Be smart with the money. Don't waste it. Set budgets. This is what this is all about. This is an opportunity. This is the universe saying, hey, I'm giving you this, and now I'm going to see how it is you're going to handle what you've been given. All right? Remember Saturn and Pluto's lesson. They're in your third house. That's where your deep changes have been going on. It's been changing and transforming that house. But remember, with Capricorn energy there, it's how you handle it. It's how you handle the power and the responsibility that you have been given. Sagittarius, this is happening. You are having this new moon happen in your third house. This is your house of thinking, your house of communication. This is the house of the entrepreneur, the house of the self-employed person. This is the house of the internet. This is the house of social media. This is the house of, I can talk. I'm a salesperson. You know, this is the third house. It's how I think. It's the house of this is the house of business. This is This is the house of Gemini. So when you have Aquarian energy in this placement, this is a really nice placement. You can be extremely intellectual. You can grasp very high ideas, and at the same time, you can get information with this new moon because Mercury is adding details, which is needed, okay? There are many times when you have thinking that goes on that is far-reaching, that goes way out there. But at this time, the beauty of this is that you're also going to get additional details. details that you didn't have before, and that's why shit wasn't working. But now the details are coming. Now is the time to set the intention. Now is when you're going to get information, and you can set those intentions based on the information that's coming in. So on the 26th, Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Risings, use this time to set these intentions. This is about business. This is about work. This is about how I can make money. This is about communication. This is about, weaving your contacts together in a harmonious way, right? I don't have the word for it. It's totally escaping me. It's networking. That's the word. Networking. That's the third house, especially when you have Aquarius there. I incorporate my friends into that, right? I work with my friends, right? I'm friends. We make money together. How do you include the group into the marketing thing? And that's what it's about. Channeling everybody in, not just about myself, but about we and how we can do this together. So when I say that, that might be like, God, that sounds so daunting. Like I'm not responsible for people. No, I'm not saying that. But when we think about Aquarian energy in the third house, that's the internet, folks. Like that's social media. So utilizing social media, and that involves others being involved. That's what social media is. Setting up talking and communication with people, commenting, right? Subscribing and learning how to network in that way. That's involving tons of other people. So at this time, use this intention for your highest and your best, your goals for marketing and for thinking, for strategizing. All right? Let's move on to the next sign. After Sagittarius is Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Rising. All right, this is going on in your second house of income, money, resources, and what I value. Okay? You Capricorns, as usual, I know you've been going through a thing. I have so much, I'm very sympathetic for the Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings, especially because I've been looking at so many of those charts and I know what you've been going through. And at this time, you're going to get information. Information on resources, information on what you value, information on what it is you should set your new moon intentions for going forward, for your future, okay, for your longevity. But it's going to be something that's fresh. It's starting something new. It's not the same old by any means, because it's Aquarian energy in your second house. And it's Mercury working with this, being fueled by the sun, getting a sextile from Mars. And it's all about, almost like there was this group of Capricorns, who for whatever reason were so, well, this makes sense actually. I just got a lot of other information coming in, and now my other part of my brain is saying, no, this makes sense, and it does. Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Rising, there was this very fixed idea of how we were to be using technology, okay? And loving technology, but there's more. There's something you have not used yet. There's some angle. There's some perspective that you were holding on to tightly and you weren't like seeing beyond that, which is very strange because that energy in that house means you love the next best thing, especially the next new gadget, right? The electronical gadgets. Oh, that would be so totally you. But there's more to it than that. It's not just about the tangible 3D world. There's more. There's stuff that's way above and beyond. There's a connection and a communication that can go on, and it doesn't require a piece of equipment. Now, again, this is just coming through. So for those out there who are listening to our Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings, there is something you are utilizing that you've tapped into, or that you kind of started to, and that information is going to be coming through. 26, new moon intention. You want to link up with the Aquarian energy. You want to link up with Uranus because there's information, divine downloads going to come in for you specifically as to how you can better connect out there without having to use electricity. This is how you are going to be using your mind in such a way where you're using the other side, the non-rational thinking, but the side of the mind that gets the imagery. Okay, the images that come in where the communication can exist there with the higher frequencies. All right, you know who you are. It's you that I'm talking to. Okay, this is a message for you specifically. I don't have names. I'm praying to God there's more than one Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Rising, but there's a whole new way of doing things, and there's something about it helping a restriction that you have right now. It'll help you to move above and beyond a a present restriction that you're feeling in your life. Okay, I hope that helps, and I hope that makes sense to you. Again, if you're an astrology student, you can figure it out by following where Uranus is in your chart specifically. And if you don't feel qualified to do that, you could always comment your stuff below. And I love helping people out. Now, if we move on to the next sign, this is going to be for Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising. Obviously, this is in your first house. The new moon is, like I said, the 26th of this month, and you're going to be getting information from the planet Mercury, who connects very well with Aquarian energy, who talks on a regular. Aquarian, the planet Uranus rules Aquarius. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So they understand each other. But Uranus is that much faster than Mercury. It's lightning bolt energy. It's electricity. Mercury is just in the head, right? It's our synaptics, it's our nerves, it's communication going on. But when Uranus comes through, it's also nerves, right? So it could be shocks and surprises in a deeper, bigger way, only if it's squared. But at the same time, it'll almost be like information comes through in a flash. And if this happens, this is in your first house, it could be things pertaining to your physical body. It could be information coming through that helps you some way moving forward, a new thing to help you physically, somehow with your appearance. It's you personally. It could also have to do with where you live because it's your physical body. It's your ascendant. It could be changes in the home, things that will make things better, but it's something new. It's not something old. It's not something that you were teetering on before. No, it's something brand new. It's a different perspective altogether. Okay, it's a flash, it's a download, it's a lightning bolt, it's knowledge that's coming through, and it's being supported by the Mars energy that's in your 11th house, which is really fascinating because the 11th house is the house of Aquarius. You have Mars there right now. So you're getting a sextile. So this is very, very compatible for Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising. You've got fire and electricity working together. This is quite powerful. This can be, I can't give a specific reading without birth digits, but this can very much be about the body, most definitely. Again, because we've got Mars represents the body in Sag, and they're communicating together, specifically with Mercury. And it's all about this Mercury being in the first house, which is the body. You follow what I'm saying? We have the body over here and the body over here communicating and saying, this is what we can do. This is how we can move forward. So for some people, Aquarius ascendants, you might have had physical restrictions, ailments that have been going on. So there might be some new information that comes through, whether it's new therapy, new technology, whether it's a new drug. You know what works best for you, okay? You have to figure that out. But this information that's coming through for you will help you figure that out. It's going to be new information. So pay attention to it and base your new moon intentions, your hopes, your wishes, your desires on that. Okay? It's for your betterment. It's for your future. It's something new. It has to do with groups as well and social circles because Mars is in that 11th house. So it has to do with possibly opening up and listening to others' opinions, maybe trying something new in terms of the body that is more expansive and out there. And again, remember, folks, this Aquarian energy is experimental energy. I am not suggesting to do experimental drugs or to do things that could be, highly dangerous. Not stating that. All I'm saying is maybe it's about trying something you haven't tried yet. Okay? Experiment. All right, if you are a Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising, Aquarius energy, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. Now, this doesn't sound so wonderful because the 12th house is the hidden. But here's the deal. This is actually really good because if the 12th house is the house of our psychology, our deep hidden psychology, stuff we're not really aware of. It's why they call it the house of the undoing, self-undoing, because it's habits that we have, thoughts that we have, energy that we hold that we're not even aware of, and we don't realize it actually is hurting us. We're holding thoughts that are actually hurting ourselves. We have habits that are actually causing us, negative side effects. So this is what this is about. Mercury coming in gives us this awareness. It says, hey, I'm not sure if you were aware of this or not, but it is this particular thing that you do on a regular. You haven't been aware of it for whatever reason. It's one of those, That 12th house energy, it's where we like to escape. So this makes a lot of sense, right? If it's where you want to escape, everybody has their own way of escaping. Some people simply do it. I used to date a guy. He used to love watching movies. That was his method of escape. He had no other vices, you know, in terms of alcohol or smoking or eating sweets. He didn't do any of that stuff. But he did watch movies like a freak, for real. Like every minute of free time this person had, they were in the middle of a movie. And this person was aware of that. They said straight out, that's my way of escaping. I don't do cigarettes. I don't do drugs. I don't do this and that. I do movies. And it was just like, oh, okay. You know, so we all do that differently, right? We all have our little thing. At this time, there may be something you totally are not aware of that's been slowing you down, right? That's been holding you back, that has been like every time I take 2 steps forward, I end up somehow going back 3 steps back, and you don't know why. And so you're going to get information as to how you can move forward, because this thing, whatever it was you were doing, it's going to come to your consciousness. You're going to become aware of it, and it will help you. It'll help you because you'll finally be like, now, why didn't I change that habit before? Why didn't I stop doing that a long time ago? It'll be like that. You know, the head, you hit your head and it's that, what was that V8 commercial they used to do? It used to be like that, right? Wish I had a V8 or whatever. And it was like they made that popping noise. It's like that bubble all of a sudden pops up and it says what it is. And you're like, oh shit, that's it, right? So that's going to happen. Pay attention, Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Rising. This information is going to be coming through, this is kind of fascinating. This is coming from the 10th house. You have Mars in your 10th house. And Mars in your 10th house will be helping to reveal what you want recognition for in this world. Now, to me, when you have Sagittarius in your 10th house, man, you want to be the astronaut. You really do. You want to just get in the missile and go, especially with Mars there right now. It is all about, I want to just go. I want to travel. I'm ready to just, you know, seek places I've never been before, and explore and learn and immerse myself in this stuff. And so there is this innate thing within you, Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Risings, where to travel and to explore helps you. It satisfies that desire that I am the traveler, to be recognized as the traveler. You learn and you immerse yourself with other cultures, and there's actually going to be this thing that happens where there will be a safer way to set boundaries. There will be information that comes through that says you love to merge with other energies, but you're realizing that when you merge with those other, I didn't know this was going to come through, but here it is. Maybe this is it for the 12th house hidden stuff. There will be information that comes through that teaches you how to be amongst others without losing yourself. Because Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Risings, there's this ability to be the chameleon, to adapt to the environment that you're in. And what happens when the chameleon does that? Well, he's no longer the chameleon. He becomes the leaf. He becomes the plant that he's near. You know, you become where you are. So you're going to get information as to what sort of borders and boundaries, what you can set up so that you don't disappear, or so that your energy doesn't 100% mesh and mold and kind of disappear into somebody else's, which can be very disturbing in many ways. When that happens, it causes problems in the long term. At the moment, it feels like normal. It feels like, okay, like, yeah, I can do this, you know? But then all of a sudden down the line, it's like, okay, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So there's going to be information that comes through for you that's going to help you. So set your new moon intentions to help you square that away so that you can have a healthier you for 2020. That is what this is all about for all of us. We're all moving forward and we're working with new energies. I hope this has helped for the new moon Aquarius 2020.